get started. I call this meeting into order at 5:34 p.m. I recognize that Neil Benet, Fiona, Devin, Usman, Amina, Aya, Mihira, and Ifrani, as well as our exhibition members, are present. So we're looking at the agenda right now. Are there any motions to approve the agenda, Sam? I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
Any objections? Hearing no objections, to approve the agenda. Aisha, can you hear us? Okay. Yeah, I can move it. Is it any better now?
There's something on the screen. Get the quick thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we're looking at the meeting minutes. I'm just gonna scroll down. If there are any points where
Girl, hold on. So this isn't.
it's not work, was there?
It's in a browser versus an app, so when I clicked out of it, it ended the whole.
It still says that you're in.
There we go. We're good.
Okay, I'm scrolling down the meeting minutes. If there are any motions to amend anything, let me know, but if not, then I think it's on the bottom if there are any motions to approve meeting minutes from today.
I second.
Any objections? Hearing no objections, to approve the meeting minutes from October 25th. Perfect. If someone could real quick go outside and bring HLSU in, we're about to hear the request right now, but
What are the H's?
HLSU. Perfect. So, we were able to hear HLSU's request last week. We ended up tabling it because we did not have the documentation that we needed for that. Okay. So I'm just gonna open it up. Can we, I'm sorry, we're over capacity. Can we just have one of you stay in here? So whoever is,
Who's the treasurer?
So,
whoever feels most comfortable to talk about the request should stay in, but we need, only one person from the org to be here. Sorry, sure, we didn't mean that.
If you have a computer, you're, I would welcome you to join virtually.
Yeah.
I'll get outside.
Okay, we're so sorry.
By the way, just to avoid feedback, try to say like.
Try to-
go down.
Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. So this is the request, so I guess are there any motions to move to the period of session?
I'm motion. But I'm moving to the period of discussion.
Second. Any objections? Hearing seeing no objections, to move to a period of discussion, anyone has anything to add, just raise your hand.
So is there a new design, for this t-shirt?
No, that's not what you needed. You needed the pricing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they couldn't have the retriever on the back.
Oh, that's right. No, I'm sorry. You're right. They couldn't have it. You're right. Thank you, Mom. That's right. Scroll down more. I think it's at the bottom.
For the bottom.
Nope, that's another. Move to enter into a period of discussion.
We already are.
Oh, we are. Great. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so what is your name, by the way? Susie. Pardon? Susie? Susie, I'm Candace. Nice to meet you. So the question at hand is if you have an alternative design for your T-shirt that does not include the retriever dog with the UMBC, because that logo is limited to athletics. And we have to follow the design and style guidelines of the university. And so you have an alternative mock-up for this.
I believe Gabby sent it to our group chat on our executive board, but I'm not sure if she emailed you with the.
Okay, so do you have it?
I should have it on my phone.
Would you be able to email it to Shruti?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if that's loud. I emailed it on Sunday at 10 p.m. exactly. I sent it to just Candace.
Candace, it was sent to
So it
you.
was,
Listen, I don't know.
What's your email? I can send it.
Yeah, SRAMES
Oh, you did send that to me.
1@umbc.edu.
I just haven't gotten there. I got it. Oh, well, I think it's perfect.
I also got it too.
Perfect. You got it? My apologies. I'm not that much far away.
Thank you for clarifying that, by the way.
I couldn't, no, it's gonna have to I have SRAMESH1 at
There's
UMBC.
RD.
Wasn't it?
No, it's SRAMES. 1@umbc.edu.
Yeah,
It's not funny.
it's not allowed me to send.
Okay, hold on.
Candace, you can support it.
Yes.
You're sending from your Umbc or?
Yeah,
I got there.
oh, I didn't have a logo, I mean, subject, like sending.
No. Okay, but they got like 3. Okay.
You need the front as well?
No, it's the front does not change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
So based off of this, is there anything else anyone wants to add? Maybe a motion?
Second.
Any objections? Hearing seeing no objections, we move to period of voting. Keep it simple, raise your hand. if you think this should be passed with the current, logo and shirt changes made, sorry, and if not, then don't raise your hand. Okay, so that's all of us. Congratulations. Thank you so much for coming in and clarifying that for us.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening.
Okay. Okay, moving on to our next request, we have Andrew. So I believe or I received an email from, with an updated price as well as, the number of units ordered. But we have a member from, Andrew present with us, so, I should want to go ahead and introduce yourself and your position, while we probably about them.
Hi, I'm Aisha Katyal. I'm treasurer of AMHU. And we just did resubmit our budget, so if you guys have any questions, please just ask me.
So, okay. So this is, our question from last time, or before we do that, are there any motions to enter a period of discussion?
I motion to enter special.
So for a little more context, we did not know the number of shirts they were ordering, and they had, I think they had too many ordered, and then the unit price was a little bit messed up, so this is the updated unit price as well as the number of shirts they're ordering. And if you look back at the application, they were also planning on ordering, like stickers as well as flyers, and that's something that we as finance were needing to discuss whether or not we're gonna fund. So are there any thoughts or opinions that want to be added to this discussion?
What's the reason for the stickers?
It's really hard to hear. Do you mind moving the mic closer to anyone who's asking a question or repeating the question?
What's the reason for the stickers?
The stickers are for our involvement fest and just to get people to know more about AMHU and just to raise awareness for our club. So we will be handing them out hopefully during the involvement fest that starts in the spring and any other events that people can attend.
Will there be another fest in the spring?
Yes, there will be, may I, sorry.
Yes.
There will be an iFest in the spring. So I think the point of clarification that needs to be made is what's the difference between merchandise and marketing, right? What qualifies an item as merchandise is, in my mind, typically it's something someone can wear or like continuously use, right? Like a pen, right? A lanyard, a t-shirt, a hat, socks. That is merchandise. Marketing is things that you use to sort of promote yourself, get your name out there like that, and that you're like giving away to anybody and everybody. Versus merchandise really is like for your members, right? To show off your name, but they get it because they are a member of the club. So the stickers and things like stickers and flyers and stuff like that feels like marketing to me. And the marketing portion of the merchandise and marketing fund is only open to student organizations that have been active for under 2 years, so have been recognized for under 2 years. Any org that's older than 2 years old does not qualify for the marketing portion of merchandise and marketing. Any club can apply for merchandise until you run out. So, and you all have to decide whether or not the things that are asked in there qualify as merchandise. That is sort of what it is in front of you.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Has your club been recognized for over 2 years? Yes.
I believe so, yes.
So with that being in mind, because I was going to say I don't see the need for both stickers and flyers, but since they've been recognized for over 2 years, then I would lean towards only funding the merchandise, which is the t-shirts.
Anyone else have anything to add?
I think to let them do this sticker, but that's because I just want to sticker.
I guess, we could go into the conversation if stickers are wearable or not. It's just kind of going with the definition of merchandise versus marketing, but that's just something that we can discuss. If we want to stick with, what Dale and Renee brought up, with just funding the t-shirts, that's also a part of it.
I would, like, this thing they're using it for merchandise, so isn't that like marketing, because you're trying to get people to join your club? So I feel like in that way, you would take it and like it falls into marketing.
Yeah,
So
that
I,
makes sense. I mean,
I think we should have clarified that like all 100 stickers wouldn't all be used for just merchandise. Like we could also change the amount of stickers or just marketing. We could also change the number of stickers for just merchandise for our members as well.
so to the board, that's a very good line that we can discuss, but yeah, well. Oh. Anything else?
I think I'm kind of for funding what they requested, including the stickers, because like the same way that club members wear shirts, I feel like club members wear stickers for stuff.
They're also requesting flyers. So, I mean, I feel like that's personally, I believe that the flyers are very much marketing, but again, if anyone has anything to disagree, but yeah, go ahead.
I agree. I think the flyers are, I don't know, I don't see how it could be merchandise. But the stickers, I mean, people put them on their laptop. And that could like, I don't know, that could be like a merchandise thing. I guess that's what we're deciding. I feel like flyers is, unless anyone else thinks flyers is merchandise.
But
Oh, yeah, I absolutely don't agree with her, like, you can definitely find the stickers and flyers, like, they seem a little unnecessary. They could just mostly include, basically, what's not by, yeah.
I agree in that like funding stickers are like straight around.
so I guess we can take like a really quick straw poll just to see where everyone's at, but if we think that we want to fund both the shirts and the stickers, then I guess raise your hand so I can have a better idea. Okay, so that's basically all of us, so if we're okay with that, then everyone can listen to the computer voting.
I moved to interfere with them.
Any objections? Here, seeing no objections, we have the spirit of voting. So for the total cost, I believe it would be $22.50 plus $258, which is like 290 something. I don't know, 290.55, I believe, if it's 55. So for that amount, if you think that only the t-shirt and wallet sticker should be funded, then raise your hand. If you don't want to fund it, then don't raise your hand.
Wait. We're doing stickers and shirts.
Yes,
Stickers and shirts.
If we want to fund the stickers and shirts for a total of $290.50. Then raise your hand. Perfect. Okay, that's all of us.
Congrats.
Can someone like check my math real quick? I'm pretty sure I'm right. But
It's 2250 plus 268, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's 290.
okay, perfect. Okay,
What's the figure of 269?
yes. Okay, perfect. Congratulations, you'll be receiving an email from me in the next few days with a bit more information about it, but thanks for coming in.
Okay, thank you so much.
Have a good one.
That kind of does sound like, have a good one.
I don't want to be too silly.
Okay,
You can sign them.
oh, I'll get to that eventually. Okay, perfect. Moving on to our first. Yeah.
May I make a quick just what to expect with semesterly budgets because they're different than some of us? There's a lot of questions in the WebEx. For semesterly budgets, the documentation that we need is mainly ECFs. So if they're asking for ECFs, they need to have that documentation. If they do not have the documentation, you cannot consider ECFs for that work. Catering, we don't really need, documentation, thank you, that was the word I was looking for, documentation for, but we do need to know, like, if they're asking for supplies, what kind of supplies are you asking for? So like, if I'm like, hey, I want to have this event and I want $100 in supplies. Well, that's not giving you guys much information to go off of. So although they don't need the documentation for those items, they do need to be giving you the information on what they're asking for. So that is what to expect with this. If they are requesting for a classroom or a lecture hall, they're not going to have confirmation with ECS yet at all because those spaces aren't open to reserve yet. So if they are asking for that, that's fine. However, if they're asking for ECS for that, that's not applicable because they couldn't have done that yet. On the, I don't know if everyone has access to the tracker, but if it is in a classroom or a lecture hall, which I have a list of which rooms those are based on what people are asking for, there cannot be food in those rooms. So some requests will probably have some food that you're gonna have to not be able to fund based on where they want to request. I think that's covers about, anything else? I'm gonna look at my notes now.
Yeah, and just emphasizes like, you know, you don't ask, in these requests, you don't ask for as much documentation as you do for in Sahas requests because they're planning so far out. But they do have to give you some kind of detail. And if there's ever a question, you ever have a question about something, just say, I have a question about this. Or is this okay? And if there are red flags on something based on your budgetary statutes, we will do our best to flag it.
And should we already legislation thing?
We are,
Yeah,
like concurrently.
yes.
Alright. So just split up as I do it.
Yeah. You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Like, what orgs, like, know, like, for the, that they're booking, where they know, like,
Assuming that they go through the process correctly.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, they would already know.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now that we got over that, our first student organization is data tech preparation. I believe we do have a representative, so if you want to go ahead, just real quick introduce yourself and what you're asking funding for, that'd be great.
Okay, hi, I'm Nivi. I am the president of VITA. The main thing that we're asking funding for is for our supplies during tax preparation sessions. So in the spring semester, we basically operate in the apartment community center and we provide free tax services to people from the Umbc community and people from like the surrounding community as well. And so for a part of this, we do need a lot of office supplies to carry out our services. And so we're asking for funding for that.
Thank you. Okay, are there any motions to move into a period of discussion?
I moved into a period discussion.
Second.
Objections? Hearing seeing no objections, we move into a period of discussion. Raising hands, we have anything to add. Yes, Candace.
I do have a question about the number of people that are UMBC students versus non-UMBC students. because these are student dollars. And so they need to be spent on students. So, I will tell you from your budgetary statutes, the maximum amount of money you can spend on a student, on an event per student is $33 a person. And so they are asking, they are in this application, it says 25 people would be, the number of undergraduate students participating. They're asking $475 in supplies.
And $50 of accommodation, which is under secondary.
Okay. So, so I suppose my question for the, and I don't, let me know if you can't hear me very clearly, because yeah, just let me know. Are these supplies that you are asking for, was the intent that they be used on, for both UMBC and non-UMBC people?
Sorry, could you repeat the second half of that question, please?
Sure. So you're asking for $475 in supplies? Would those, was the intent for those supplies to be used for both UMBC and non-UMBC individuals?
So some of the supplies would be used primarily by the UMBC individuals. So things like the name tags, pens, a lot of the printing and paper would also be for UMBC students. Some of the paper would be used as well as the toner for printing returns for our clients after like our tax preparation session is over. So I would say like most of it would be used for students. Some of it would go towards some of the clients that come to our sessions. And I also want to clarify that like this would be for like a series of tax preparation sessions. So this wouldn't just be for like a single event. This would be I think as of now we have planned like 6 like tax filing sessions, and so like we would have a different array of UMBC students at each session.
So who is typically your client?
So they are just low-income individuals. We also do have UMBC students that come in to get their taxes filed through us. And they're also just people from the Baltimore community that just need their taxes filed for free.
I guess I have a point of clarification is what I asked about. But, would it, like, is there a way to differentiate exactly if not, like, is there a way to differentiate the exact amount that's being used for UMBC students versus for others? And, yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I heard the question correctly, but are you asking if I can differentiate the exact number of people or like the exact number of people that would be our clients as in terms of UMBC versus non-UMBC students?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is there a way to know the exact number of people using these research that we're funding?
Okay, so I really can't be sure because that would depend on like our past numbers, and I don't exactly know where we have that information stored. I do know that like I said, the supplies would be primarily used by UMBC students who are preparing the taxes as opposed to the clients that come in. But I mean, I can try to look, but I'm not sure if I have the exact numbers of like UMBC versus non-UMBC clients and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so but the supplies are to be able to service clients, correct?
Yeah, so they would be used by the students, so that they can prepare the taxes for the clients.
Yeah, so what, I guess, I guess we are sort of talking about this in two different ways, right? So you are saying, yes, students are using the supplies. And that is true because your club members are doing the taxes. But the supplies benefit who, right? So the supplies benefit the clients. Who are the clients? Is the question at hand, right? So, because the money is student money, and so therefore needs to be spent on students. Students need to benefit from the activity, right? And if students are not the clients, then that money is being spent on non-students, which is not the purpose of the student activity, is to create activity for students to then participate or benefit from. If you were to say, we have these tax preparation sessions and they're only open to students and only students can come to them, and we prepare students' taxes, that would be different. But what I'm reading in your description is that this, for the greater community, which is wonderful. I think I want to name that. I think that the purpose of your organization, the service that you provide is great. And there are some restrictions that the finance board has around what it will spend its money on, because it's not actually their money, it's the students' money. So students pay into the pot and then students receive it back to benefit. They don't typically give money out to benefit other groups or people that are not students. So I think that's sort of where we are sort of in this loop.
Okay, I
Yeah.
understand. I know this is our first time as an organization requesting funds from SGA. We've never done that before. I think because of issues like this, because we're kind of the way we operate is different from most other student organizations. So this is the first time that we're trying it. We thought we would just attempt it. So
Yeah, so I mean, um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the only way. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. So Nivi, you kind of mentioned that UMBC students also come and receive tax services. How many students typically come and receive services based on tax years?
yeah, so that's information that I'm trying to see if I can find from past years. I know we also do like one session a year where we have like a structured session where we do like a financial literacy presentation for students and then file their taxes for them after that. But I can't find the exact number.
The only way that I see that this could be funded by finance board is that if there is a number and if you like, if it's only going to be used to help the students of the community, otherwise I don't, it just doesn't follow the guidelines that we have. Unfortunately, we won't be able to fund it if it's for anyone else, but.
Okay, yeah, no, I totally understand. I might have to ask our advisor about who, like, whether I can get that sort of information, but is there a possibility that I could like follow up with somebody about this at a later point?
Yeah, we would be able to table this application, for like temporarily, and if you're able to get back to us with any other information and any other details that would be more specifically towards students, we would be able to reconsider it, in our future meetings.
Okay. Then I'll try to figure out some more exact numbers with my advisor and then get back to you then.
Imani, go ahead.
So are we saying that if the numbers that she brings back, if she can find them, that the number of students outweigh people not on campus will be funded, or this only has to be?
so, yeah. So basically it'd be like, okay, they're asking for $475, right? Or, and then $50 in taxes. So they're asking for $525, right? And you say, okay, that, and they're saying they have 50 people there, so it's like, what? I can't do math.
Or 50 times.
So they're like a
$10.
$10 a person, right?
Yeah.
But then you're like, okay, so on average, the average that they usually have is like, I mean, you could even do it now if you want. They're saying they have 25 people, but I don't know, it's up to you. They're saying half of the people are UMBC, half of the people are not UMBC, so we're gonna fund half of the class. You could do that now, or you could wait.
If we get numbers, I feel like that would be preferably the better way to go about it.
Yeah.
So that's just my own input.
It would be like, oh, they on average have 32 students come through out of 100, so we're gonna fund this at 32%.
Okay, I'm sorry. So maybe you also mentioned that there's like an event that you hold in the spring where you prepare services specifically for students. Is that something that you're also going to be requesting funding for, or?
Yeah, so I'm gonna include that in the numbers that I get because we didn't do that last year because we were virtual. But this year, I believe we're gonna see if we can do that again. So I'll have to confirm how many people we've gotten in the past for that specific type of tax filing session, and then go from there.
Just for clarification, unfortunately, you cannot add another event at this time. That would have had to be submitted separately when you did your semesterly budget. So the finance board can only consider this specific event.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, you will be receiving, I mean, I guess if you have like anything else, like any specified numbers, we can relook at this, but, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me about it, or any of our advisors, or any finance reps. But, yeah, just let us know if you have any other, updates regarding it, but right now, are there any motions to table this?
A second.
Perfect. Any objections? We're seeing no objections to table this application, but thank you for coming in, and we'll await your response.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course. Okay. Moving on to our next application, I believe we have a representative from Anime Society with us. Can you just real quick introduce yourself and your event, please?
All right, hello, and there's another representative here as well. Hello, my name is Paul Ocon. I am the president of the Umbc Anime Society. And Austin, why don't you go, and then we can introduce the events.
Hello, I'm Austin. I'm the vice president of the Umbc Anime Society.
Yeah. And so our two events are RetrieverCon, which is our larger event. It is a anime convention at UMBC, sort of for UMBC undergraduate students to provide them maybe to sort of create a great community and provide an opportunity for maybe students who don't have an opportunity to go to anime conventions so they can get the experience of the convention. And then we also have our sort of semesterly event marathon, or 24 hours of anime, which is where we watch anime for 24 hours in order to sort of provide a space for students to de-stress right before finals.
Just to clarify real quick, we're just reviewing the 24-hour marathon event today. I believe the other event is still waiting some documentation, but as for today, we're only going to review the 24-hour marathon event.
Oh, okay. Do you know what do we need to submit any more documentation, or?
No. Hi, Paul. It's Tori. Good to see you. You do not have any other documentation to submit. It just was not on the docket for today.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you. Are there any motions on the floor to finance the numbers?
First question. Second.
Any objections? You're seeing the objections? Is that an objection?
No, I like that.
Oh, okay. You're seeing no objections. We move in period of discussion. Okay, go ahead. I believe.
Didn't we already approve this in the last request?
So that was for this semester, that was for fall semester, they wouldn't say the exact event, but they do it semesterly from my understanding. And, this is for their, I
Oh, I
think
see.
it's May,
Yeah.
but they did, I think they did it for December earlier. Any questions?
Well, if it's the same thing as the last request, I feel like there shouldn't be nothing wrong with it.
Okay, so here's kind of where my thought process comes in. But I don't know if you guys remember, but for their last event, or I guess does anyone else have anything else to add before I go on there? Okay. So my thought process was, I remember, I mean, I know more about this than most of us here, but TST contacted Anime Club because they were catering pizza from Chartwell's. And it was around $300 to do that for 25 people. But I don't know if you remember, but we got them to switch over to Papa John's. Was that Astronomy Club? That was
Yeah.
Astronomy Club.
It wasn't that.
And they so funny.
No, that was another, we were speak for that, we have an astronomy club review that is later, on our, that they did request like an expensive Chartwell's thing. But
Oh,
they
so
submitted,
so
yeah, but no, I get what you're saying, it's because they submitted that one on October 2nd before they met with us and like we explained.
yeah, okay, got it. Okay, okay. They're all confusing me now.
Second.
Oh.
What?
Nothing.
She said, hold on.
Oh, what?
Wait. No,
No, they already seconded. Did somebody second?
I don't have an objection.
Oh, you have an objection?
Yeah, I have an objection.
Wait, can you have an objection?
Oh, you said, well, yeah.
An objection.
Oh, you said,
I
well,
have an objection because I just want to add that that was a mistake, but I personally think we should fully fund it, but that's the truth. Okay, now we're okay, now we're the impression of the board. Okay, any seconds?
She said, yeah, she said it.
Oh, okay, perfect. We're taking objections. So you're taking objections, we're in a period of voting, so we think we should fully fund, Anime Club, Anime Society's application as it stands for. $190.50, $190.50. Raise your hand. If not, don't raise your hand. Is that everyone? Yeah. Sorry for the confusion, but $190.
All right, is that it? If so, then thank you very much.
That's it, Paul. Yeah, that is it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I, add just a reminder at the end of the last meeting, stay on track. Try to let one person talk at a time. You can have a word if you guys start going off track for Candace and I, TLG guys. Banana, if someone has a better word, that's fine. But just a reminder. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, if you just like slow down just a tad bit, so I can still keep on track of what's happening. Okay, Astronomy Club, I was literally looking at it. Okay, perfect. Super. Are there? Do you remember who was the other person that was represented? That was outside?
Happy says outside. Oh, it's outside.
Oh, you're good. Who's just an admin?
The person that came in,
System administration.
Nicola, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
I thought you were talking about looking for Sharon.
Yeah, I don't know, it was literally presenting for a time. But I do not think so, and yeah, I don't think there's anyone here, but this is the application that I had or I forgot. But are there any motions set here for you?
I moved to.
Second.
Any objections? There's like an objection to another period of discussion, yes.
So for this club, they submitted their application like October 2nd or whatever. This was way before we met with them and told them about the Papa John's thing. So whoever's the I think that whoever's the liaison should like hit them up and like let them know to give us documentation again for like Papa John's thing, and then just like table it for us.
I very much agree with that.
I need to table this application.
A second.
Any objections?
I object.
Wait,
So,
So, point of order.
yes,
So what happens when someone objects is that you then have to vote. Not like, they object to, like, the concept of, no, not of tabling. They are objecting to the general consent. That's what you're objecting to. So then if someone objects, if someone motions and then seconds, then if someone objects, they're objecting to the general. Then you have to vote to move through that motion.
so I guess just a point of order, if we move a little bit slower, so like no have confusions, maybe we would not have this problem. This is generally my thought, but, for Usman's sake, what question do you have?
oh yeah, so like the documentation, like, do you guys need like an actual documentation? Documentation.
I can send you, I don't know if you remember, did you have it? Remember you emailed me like that Google Doc thing had like everything, like their soda, their pizza, whatever. Same exact situation, like we just need that, so you do that. I'm gonna send the same thing over, that's separate, it would change the name, but, yeah. It'll email you.
So what you're asking is if they'd be willing to switch their catering from Chartwell's to Papa John's. You don't need the same documentation as we did prior because this is semester.
But they'd still have, you don't even have to do that. You just, how many pizzas are they asking?
I mean, they already said that like they were getting it from Papa John.
This is a different request.
This is a different request. This is a seven.
They're asking from Chartwell, sorry, what was your question?
How many pizzas are they requesting for? They're asking for the same amount of pizzas for 25 people, right?
They don't have a number?
It's the same.
You can just cut their food. You don't have to ask them whether or not it's okay. You can say, we're gonna cut them to the number, like to a dollar amount that is for them to be able to get Papa John's. Then you can approve this based on that. So,
They ask for food and drinks though, because if that's the case,
the drinks, yeah.
can we just use the number they gave for Sahas and just use that?
You can't do that, yeah.
I'll just pull it up right up there.
So we don't have to let them know that.
You can let them know you did that, but you don't have to ask them for permission.
I mean, to be totally honest, you could fund them at 300 because they're under.
You could, yeah, you could do that.
They're not over what they're allowed to ask for. And so this would be kind of an example of micromanaging things that we want to avoid with semester. Because they very might well actually want to ask for Chartwell's food and not Papa John.
Yep.
So my suggestion would be to base off of what's on the application, even though this happened before they initially came in here. If you don't know if they're fine with switching that, and to be 100% honest, if they want Chartwell's, they're within the budget what they're allowed to ask for. So I would advise that we don't make assumptions based on just because this was before we had a Papa John's conversation that this is what they want to do. This is what they're asking for. They're not in the room to say anything or defend themselves. So you have to go off of what's on the paper, not on your assumptions. So if they want $300 with the Chartwells, it's under what they're allowed to ask for per person, and that is totally within your realm to fund that.
You know, it isn't possible to do table it, so get like a better clarification.
It's possible.
I think this means something.
I think what we can do is because their application is completely fine, and I feel like it's kind of like taking out of everyone's time and to call them back again to make a bill. We can do what Tori said, and we can like fund them for $300, and then we can send in their email, the email that you sent to them. We can like, or the liaison, you guys can tell them like, you can use this money for Papa John's as well. Like, this is the amount of money that you have for food, use it for whatever you want.
Well, Chartwell's.
Yeah, it has to be what they ask for.
No,
It doesn't have to be what
Really?
they ask for.
Really?
Because, yeah, they could be like, we have planned on pizza, but then we asked Chartwell, and Chartwell was like, well, there's a global dose shortage, so can't get you pizza. Like, okay, well then we will do. Because they have them, although they never have it. So, because they are planning so far in advance, right? There's the birth, whatever, right? The lane that they have is much wider, right? And so they can sort of, they're like, we want food. Okay. So you're inside food, as long as they're not using their food money to that. And they said, oh, we changed our mind, we're not gonna actually have food, we're gonna use that for decorations, that's a no.
Those are the same line item.
It has to be the same kind of, yes.
Is this only for a semester?
Only for a semester.
There's the house, like if you say you're buying this decoration,
You gotta buy that decoration. And that's the trade-off in this process, right? They have to plan so far ahead that you give them a much wider lane, right? To us, they are doing it on short notice, and so your sort of requirements are, well, we need to know that you're ready to do this before we give you the money. Because it's happening in 3 weeks, so you better be ready to come. But, so those are the trade-offs.
Yes.
so let's say that we give them those funds and then they can get to Papa John's. Do they need to submit that documentation to us, or that's just at the normal?
It's rare, they'll handle it.
Again, David were this person who's going to be purchasing these items for them, food, items, merchandise, everything. So he's going to make sure that's exactly what they legible.
And another addition about semesterly budgets. If they're not here, we don't need them here. The thing is that they should have their application as filled out as they can. If you cannot make a decision based on that, that's more so on them than it is on you all. So IS team is doing what they need to try to get documentation in beforehand so that you have the documents that you need. But if they're not here, they have the option to, or mine reached out. But if they're not, then you get to decide what you need. If it's absolutely things that you need more information on, then of course you can table it. But we don't want to be in the habit of, just because we have a couple of little questions like this specifically, tabling, because it's going to really, really prolong the process.
On that note,
Are there any motions to the floor?
or if you want to raise your hand for more discussion.
Into approve the voting.
Any objections? Here's an objection. Voting. If you think Astronomy Club should be funded for $300 as they requested, raise your hand. If not, then don't raise. All of us. Another point of order, please slow down a little bit so we don't think.
The representatives. The representatives. It's
Funded.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it would just be nice, like, if we don't rush into, like, because if we still have questions among ourselves, we don't have to go back and vote through, like, objections.
Oh.
So we just, like, make sure everyone is set on something before we even go through it. Hi, welcome back.
Thanks.
Okay, once you get settled down, if you want to like meet yourself real quick, as well as what you're funding for, and that'd be great.
I'm Nicola. I'm the president of the System Administration Software Development Club, and we're requesting funding for basically a server construction event we're running in the spring, where we're going to have, let's say, roughly 40 people, basically teaching people how to assemble, server computer parts.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you. Okay, are there any motions to appear in this one? Any objections? Hearing no objections, we mentioned a period of discussion, I think that is to have, there's no.
I think the only question I have is this program open to the public or is it open to the members of your organization?
Public, all of our events are.
Just really confused because, sorry, you mentioned, the justification for the expected attendance. There's like specific people that you mentioned, like emails.
Yeah, that's our current sign up for.
Current sign up.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be advertised on my Umbc. Perfect.
You don't have to be in that list to participate, I should say. That's just like a baseline of who are currently in the club. And anyone who wants to can come.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Are there any objections? Okay. Perfect. I guess who?
Yeah, so you would take a vote as to whether or not to move into a period.
Okay.
And if the majority wants to move into a period of voting, you would do that. If the majority does not, you would stay in discussion.
Okay. Are there who? Raise your hand if you want to move into a period of voting. Wait, if you want to move into a period of voting, where are people?
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand. Okay, that's the majority. Personally, I would like to know how much we're funding.
That's what my question was.
So I don't really know how much we're funding, so I don't know how much we're voting on. So it's just not.
Where's everything on the full amount?
$1,000.
That's dollars.
Yeah, that's how much.
Those and the supplies.
Okay.
I have a spreadsheet of the, the actual numbers.
Right. Okay, if we are funding it $4,000. I guess raise your hands if you could respond, request for the $1,000 they requested for,
So, yeah, so you're voting on this legislation at $1,000.
okay, that's all of us. Wait, I have a question.
Yes,
I
they voted for it, so.
know.
Now-
I think the issue is not so much the speed, but that people are speaking without raising their hands. So I feel like if we do that first, then it'll allow everyone to speak instead of being like, I'm gonna do this. Because Shruti can't see if I'm she can't see us opening our mouths. So I think we should all raise our hands first.
Yes.
Naila Dene is correct, and that is how it always has to be. Additionally, I don't think it's smart to move in voting without discussing something first. Without having like any say of like, this is what's happening. This is not directed at you at all, but you did not ask him a single question about what was happening or what was being requested for. You just blindly funded an event. And that's, like I said, that is nothing towards you at all. It's gonna be a great event.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations.
Fantastic.
But I understand that you all want to move through things quickly, but this is not an appropriate way to do it.
Or do you vote?
Okay, can we,
Nope, you
Nope,
voted.
you're done. Yeah, record your vote.
okay. Thank you for coming. Congratulations on being funded.
Thank you.
You'll be receiving, email them shortly, but I think Ramona will do that with the more information about the process. Thank you. Okay. Real quick before we move on, banana. Real quick, set some sort of like guideline to make sure that everyone's being heard before any of these periods of voting, so we can actually know what's happening. So like, this isn't arbitrary, everyone's putting up just to have some sort of idea, but like, at least like 3 of us, or like at least 4 of us speak, so at least a majority of us have somewhat to say during discussion before we go into voting or tabling or whatever. And at least if the student orgs are here, just ask them a few questions. So, you know, these two more involved as well as we know exactly what's happening because Tori was right. We don't, I mean, I know personally because I've been in an email chain about this, but I don't know how much of you know exactly what's being questioned today, at least for the last request. So, that's all. Okay, moving on to our next request. We have amplified. Are there? I don't think there's, oh, actually, yeah, there's supposed to be someone coming in. I don't know if there's anyone, would anyone be able to real quick go, for which organization? African Conference. Yeah. Because there's supposed to be someone coming in Vermont.
So it should be a good thing that as chair to look into these is to maybe give a summary of what is going on, especially if someone isn't here. So like, we're looking at, for example, looking at African Council or a movie night, they are asking for $75 for food and drink and $40 in common vision materials. So please take a second to sit and see it, look over this event specifically and see if you have any questions before we go into any termination.
Okay.
For example, enter that period of discussion, I have some comment.
You heard from Tori, but so next we're looking at the County Council and they're requesting $75 for their drink as well as $40 for common vision for a similar level. And I guess if you guys have it open on your computer, just pull it up so we can visit it. But yeah, this is their request. Are there any motions to move into a period of discussion about this?
Questions?
So this is an lecture hall where they cannot have food.
So, I'm gonna raise your hand first. I'm gonna go ahead.
I just have a question. Are they able to change?
I mean, they could, but based on what they've submitted, they're having it.
I didn't have any.
Oh, no.
Am I leaving?
Um,
So I just looked at the people that are on the screen.
Oh, I didn't know they were saying.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. With the documentation that they submitted, I think it's on for ECS, but was it supposed to be different documentation? Because it looks like they just resubmitted the same document like 5 times.
So from my understanding, it honestly looks like a receipt, which obviously we don't do refunds. So I'm not 100% sure what it is, honestly, but it looks like a receipt that's stuff that's already purchased, but that's just my 2 cents. But Neil, did I get anything to add?
Yeah, it says, this is the one ending in 644, right? It says that they're not serving food, but then they put in, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's, I'm confused.
What did it say there?
It says, will you be serving, it's, right after the timeline of the event. Talks. It says, will you be serving food? And they say, oh, scroll down, then. Right there. So I don't know why there's a money thing. Maybe that's the reimbursement that they're looking for from the receipt, if that's a receipt, because they already purchased it.
But that hasn't happened yet. But it looks like a receipt on the but anyone else have anything to say? I think you're raising your hand.
So I guess I was just thinking one option would be.
And it's $40 a ton and material. Anyone else?
So they can't have the food in there anyway, just agree with me with the $40 for the combination. And then they're like, liaison with them up and probably like, well, you can't have food in there, okay.
I guess that's something that we could communicate to them, but through the funding, that's something that will be like specified.
Yeah.
You only have $40.
Yeah, just to be clear, when the legislation gets sent out to them, if there's changes in what they are asking, that should be explained. So whoever's sending out, I'm assuming sure the legislation to these orgs for confirmation, you should be explaining, we only funded this because you can't have food in this lecture hall, and it looks like you already bought the material anyway. Assuming that is what the vote goes to, I'm not saying that.
Here's a real quick question. So the vote records, did that get sent out to the?
No.
Nope.
The packets are not.
Okay, then I'll just include that in the email about it.
Because there's otherwise there's no way these works.
I've been writing notes on like the vote record.
Can we just look at the document? Because I'm not sure, like, it looks like a receipt, yeah, but I can't tell where.
I don't know what it is.
Is it like from the school or what is this?
This
It says department, but I'm not sure if it's like.
So from my understanding of it, it looks like it is.
Stored.
Oh, this is
That doesn't look like a store receipt.
I don't know what it could.
this is a journal entry.
Oh,
Oh wait, transaction type checkout.
Yeah, it doesn't, it looks like,
I think they like lost the receipt. This is the receipt. And then they got a copy of the receipt. Fritos. 48 8-ounce. They got used.
That's what food receipt for the stuff they already bought.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't really, I mean, there's another reason we can't fund food, but
Right.
this is also.
okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like something else.
No, look, what I think it is that they lost the receipt, they went to the store and they got a reprint of it. That's what that looks like.
It says in the application. Snacks and drinks would cost, as well as the competition.
So could it have been from, I mean, obviously it doesn't matter, but maybe it was something from previous. Okay, so we know that we can't fund the food and drink anyway because it's an electrical. And even regardless of whatever documentation they're sending in, the only thing we can fund is the $40 for contribution. So based off that,
announcement made. If you could always available.
Yeah, that's the
To move to interpretive voting.
Any objections? There is no objection to the moving to computer voting. Oh my God. Okay, so if you believe that it should be funded for the $40 that we all agreed upon, raise your hands. If not, don't. That is all of them. Wait, here's that. Okay, moving on to our next request. Oh, that was a really fun one. Yeah.
There's still room for them. There's a
Perfect. Okay. Okay,
You don't know if this is Sahas.
it is. So this is a home application.
which what is it?
Yeah. We spent the $40.
What do you need to do, man?
I believe it's a CST right now.
Okay, yes, you're correct. This is a half, 266.
They get their documentation. I know that was what we.
Yes.
It's 266.
Yeah, it's not in the finance review.
Okay, just getting an email about it right now.
Okay.
I don't even think so many emails right now.
Oh, yeah, he's, sorry, I've been like, giving edits for all the other.
Yeah. What are the finance from? Citizen sent it out.
Is it Sahas?
Mm-hmm.
266.
Oh, yeah, it's still changed.
I can just pull it up real quick.
Yeah, just pull up your email. I think I moved it. It should be there.
It's there.
Yeah, it's fine.
For me, it says it's not, it left treasurer's support team, but didn't go into.
Yeah, to go to finance.
Should we, don't you have the email that was?
Yeah, it was forwarded.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so we have this, but so this event, you guys have access on I just sent it to you through email, but this is for an upcoming event. It's Practical Cultural Night on December 4th for a total of $3,413. So looking at the date of submission, it was submitted on October 20th, and obviously the date is December 4th. So based off of that, we would only be able to fund 1,000 to 3,000. Yeah. It's exactly 45 days.
Yeah, we can fund
1 to 3,000. Yeah. we'll be able to fund, $1,000 to $3,000, and, we have some additional documentation that was sent in for a bit of clarification. You guys can also sign it. But, so, they have, for decorations, we needed some documentation for that, so they have a list of everything that they're ordering and, how much everything costs. So I can also send it out to everyone just so look at it. I'll see if I can. I don't think it's so.
Have, the lovely representative.
Yeah, so nice.
Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca. I'm the president of PAXA.
Can you real quick, just like talk about your event a little bit?
Okay, so our event, essentially, typically PAXA does like very large main events. So due to COVID, we wanted to scale back and still have something for our members. So it's more so, it's not the cultural night that we typically have where it's like performances and everything, but it's like a scaled back version. So we'll still be having food, appreciating the culture. We'll have people who are like willing to share poetry. That's like cultural poetry more specifically, and singing if students would like to. So it'll be a little bit of a small talent exhibition with it, so that we can still appreciate aspects of our culture while not having that huge event that we typically have. And so we hope to have cultural food, which is going to be catered by Goggle. I think Matt included the estimates in his ECS form. Yeah.
Yeah. Seconds. Any objections? Period of. Yes.
So what total is it actually? Because that one says 2,213 and then one above says 3,400 something.
So from my understanding, 2,213 is what PCF has told them, but they have other sources that they have not listed it. So I believe they have a tracker. This stuff, I believe the total is $369, and that's not included, as well as they also have a contract for a photographer, which we just, I don't know if you were here, but we were talking about it. Beginning of the meeting and figuring out that we can't fund that, so that is stuff that we can consider, yes.
Yeah, point of clarification.
Yeah.
So while in previous finance boards, they have not funded student contracts, that has been their precedent.
Okay. From the statute.
So you can, but it has not to do that. That doesn't mean that you can do it.
But, okay, ignore the last part, is that, yeah.
Hi, so just something that I wanted to point out to you all, based on your numbers for UMBC is, I believe, 7 days. The max food that would be able to be funded is $1,050.
Okay.
In the request, it asks for 1,300. Yeah, 1,300. So just so you know, that is a point. If they do fund everything else, that the finance board will have that one. That number comes from UMBC student estimate times 15, and 15 is the, what is it called? The state.
Maryland's PM.
So that is how finance board comes to its number of how much it will fund for catering.
So to clarify on that number that we put there, we didn't know if they would be including drinks. So I just added 200 for drinks. Based off of what the caterer told us, it is exactly 1,100.
Okay.
And so I think in the follow-up email that I sent, I said that we can disregard that 200. And just keep it at the 1,100. And if we need to get drinks, we can use our contact David, I believe, and use our carryover if that's fine.
Yep.
So that is definitely one place that will cut back. It'll be $50 short of that. But so that is an area that
Tori, do you say it's 1,150, but
1,050 is the max. So 70 times 15 is 1,050.
so we're able to fund 10. Any
Just for clarification, are we looking for funding 1050 on the decorations?
So from my understanding, so it'd be 1050 plus out decorations, as well as the ECFC of 21, okay, 2,213, as well as a few other things that are involved in there, but, yeah, so, and then we also have the contract that we haven't discussed yet. And for that, I guess, for the clarification, they want to have a photographer at the event, and the photography is planning on being done by another student organization, photography club, and they're getting people to do it. And for that, they wanted the student organization wanted money, I believe, of $425 to fund like equipment as well as like any other processing photography related things. And that is something that, as Candace has said, has not been funded in the past, and that's something that we can consider, and they have made a contract with this individual who is the president of the photography club, so. Yes,
So wait, to clarify, is that there's no rule that says that they can't.
Correct.
So in the past, I'm pretty sure it's a bad practice, but was that like something that you paid for on your own, or is that?
I wasn't in charge of any of this at that time, so I'm not 100% sure. I believe we had a contract with I'm not certain though.
Their contracts previously, they were printed by finance board or for outside as well.
Okay.
So if they were ever inside, what Candace was explaining earlier, that the board, although we have budgetary statutes, they can also add extra rules to keep in place for the year. And typically the board says that they will not give student funds to a student that is at UMBC. So that's something that they have done previously, the board. So you most likely did have a photographer, but it just wasn't a student, or they did it for free. Or you paid them out of your carryover.
Or the student.
Okay.
That's also.
Yeah. No idea from the top. So
Yeah, can we clarify what the contract number is again?
it's 425.
Okay, so that would be cut in here.
500, yeah.
And there was also that $20 of supplies I wrote on there. I thought, like I tallied the supplies from the ECS form. I don't think that 20 is actually like anything.
Okay, so we'll put that up.
Is there anywhere still being requested for?
No.
So it was 3. And also another thing to, so I believe this includes tax, so the total before tax is $384.94. So that's also a place that we, for clarification, we don't fund tax because, when you buy things through, David Royer at NSCBSC, it's like a tax exempt thing because it's a.
That number again?
348.94.
4890.
348.94, yeah.
That's for decoration.
And you said you're not doing dining wearing?
I'm under the assumption that the caterer is going to provide, because it's boxed meals, I'm under the assumption that they'll provide spoons and forks and such. Is it possible we could still keep the 100 just in case they don't?
I think it'll depend on where your totals at
Okay.
and the board's decision.
$3,600.
So the numbers that would be moved around, the new total that you have based on what we just kind of talked about, so the catering being cut down, the contract switching from 500 to 425, the decor taking that $20, supplies out is $3,036.94. So there would still be $36.94 that would have to be cut to be within the amount that the board is willing to consider based on the timeline.
Corey, where did I get that?
Sure, yes. So the ECS form includes catering.
Oh, okay, I got that.
So it's
And common
yeah, and common vision.
Okay.
So 863 is what the total ECS fees are, just ECS. They have whatever, $1,000 or whatever that number is for catering. I switched that to the appropriate 1050 and 250 is in there for common vision. And then 425 for contract is the new number, 348.94 for decor, 100 for dining. And then that 20, she mentioned that they don't, that came from the ECS documents.
So isn't that, if it's over the 3,000, we're not eligible at all, or is that?
So they can only fund up to 3,000. So they could fund you 3,000. Find where.
Okay.
That's up to the board.
It's up to us to fund the 36
No,
dollars.
you have to put, like, so I'm telling her that, like, if you all still have not decided as to whether or not to fund.
Okay, got you. Said we would fund. They've got documentation, they've got everything, they've got ECS approval, there's nothing left.
For the 3,000.
3,000 fully.
Anyone else? Right here. Anyone else?
I would like to ask the board, if this is something that is funded, is there, granted, to the board, this is your decision where the 3694 would come out of, but is there a preference for where that comes out of?
Or you cut it.
Actually, would any of you happen to know what's in the common vision package?
It's Candace, or you guys figure it out, you guys can speak.
If you just type into Google common vision. Then you want to click on resources.
Oh, shit.
Not that one. Have their packaging in it. Thing down at the, it keeps going.
Typically, it includes like a banner, an INET, certain amount of like flyers and quarter cards. Something in that range.
Okay.
It's marketing package pricing.
Yeah, one banner, 120 by 30, one on that event type, 500 for party.
Yeah, so the difference, so you see there's the marketing package 3, which is one banner, 120 by 30, 500 quarter cards. The difference is the thing on this TV screen. could do a banner, 200 pork cards and an event highlight, but not the 20 by 30 flyer. It just depends on what you want, right? The $250 package is the highest package, and then they have 3.
We currently have listed the 250 one.
Correct.
It's impossible for us to go down to the 200 one.
It was, yes, the board always prefers to cut thing that you feel the board feels comfortable with.
Like, I mean, I don't know if this is a possibility, but could it be something that we just like to 200 just for the sake of right now?
Yes.
And then they could, if they want to 250, they can use their own money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're able to pay for it, that is.
Yeah.
Okay. So just for the sake of everything,
What you will, this is about what you will fund versus, right, they may spend more.
so we're still good for 3,000.
You're under 3,000.
So it'd be what?
If you cut the common vision to 200, you're under 3,000.
So it's 3,036 minus 250.
Your total would be 2,986.94.
28, sorry, what did I thought that?
2,986.94.
Okay, obviously it's still not set in stone yet. The one thing that we still haven't discussed necessarily is contracts. It is included in the total right now. But if anyone has anything to add on that realm, I guess now is the time.
So this is kind of for Candace Tori, the support. I mean, $500 go to the photography club's like reserves.
No, it's go to that person.
Oh.
So Bailey Janae would get a check
Oh.
for $425.
Also, is it just for that one night?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
So we're essentially, we're paying that individual.
That's pretty, in my opinion, that's pretty on par for photography.
Like, that's good for Tom.
Yes, yeah, like, we're not talking about wedding. Because then it would be triple or quadruple.
That's,
You're like, that's a little low. But for someone to come, shoot some shots, and not really edit them, I think you, like $100 an hour.
Right. So do it.
Anyone else?
What is the reason then for not funding contracts?
it's not contracts, it's contracts for students specifically. Contracts are fine. It's more so that, saying this, Candace was explaining this a little bit earlier, but let's say I'm the president of my whatever club. Pointed, president of my blah, blah, blah club, and I'm gonna hire my friend Candace over here, and how much money do you need right now? $400? Okay, her contract price is $400. So it's more so to keep it from being, I'm hiring my friends, my vendors to get them some extra money, than to an actual like professional photographer that has set contracts and pricing and invoicing. So typically, and what did you say the name of that was?
Correct.
She said, so that is typically in the past when the finance board has not funded for students specifically.
And it's not,
For
up to,
contract.
it's not up to us to kind of vet if there's a conflict of interest between the photographer and. Don't we have, I think, is it Alex? Isn't she the photographer or like videographer or something? For SGA? Ava, sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, that's doing student art stuff is outside of the work.
Oh,
So is it better for them to just get a better photographer, or is it okay that they still use a photographer?
I mean, that's up to us if you want to fund it the way it is. So I mean, like, it's not really my opinion or like anyone else individually, it's up to the board.
Honestly, I'm for it, like we'd be supporting UMBC student, it's not just a random UMBC student, it's like from photography club. So they specialize in this and have the equipment for it. So I'm all for it.
Anyone else?
So we, but like, when you have an event without a crowd, I mean, everyone needs photography, just kind of like, this is an event, so it's the end. It shouldn't be a week.
Okay, anyone else? Here, there's like two more people, just for the sake of all agreeing. What else? Yeah, over.
I agree as well. I feel like even amount these out.
So base, yeah.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say based off of that, we're all okay for the 2986.94 amount. So we can move into voting if that is the case.
And the picture.
Any objections? Yeah.
Wait, could I actually make a note? We haven't received our room layout from ECS yet. And on our declaration page, this is like a random question I have. We have like circular tablecloths. Whereas I just like passed by a skylight and like they have square tables and circle tables. So is that like if we end up needing to purchase like square tablecloths? Say like would we be able to like contact you at some
You
time?
would, I mean, that wouldn't be, that would be. If it's the lawyer's not gonna like. Yeah, be like, no. It would be like, oh, they come to for tablecloth, but we want to take that $200 and. No, definitely.
As long as it's still in the same budget for tablecloths, that's,
Yes.
yeah.
We're going to stay under the total amount. Okay. Okay, now that we're through the voting, and everyone believes that we should fund, access to health request for 2986.94 cents. As it stands, please raise your hand. Not, don't raise your hand, really slow. Thank you, perfect.
My name's up.
Thank you so much for coming in, and, we have, thank you all so much. Thank you. So, we're trying to walk you out.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah. So we're trying to walk you out, but, you'll receive an email from me. Thank you all. What is banana? Oh, okay.
Did you just say cheddar?
For me, I said chatter.
Oh,
because of the
okay.
size.
I'm so hungry. I got cheddar.
Okay. How big is it? We have, we're going back to semesterly. This is, Umbc going with the boys. They submitted an application. Okay, perfect. So this is, for an event. First of all, are there any representatives here from?
Yes, hello.
Perfect, thank you.
Can you hear me? All right, thank you.
Please, real quick, introduce yourself as well as the event that you're planning on hosting.
Yeah, sure. So, I am Ryan McShay. I am the treasurer of the UMBC Mama's Boys. Also here online is Jake Duty, who is the president.
Hello.
We are, there he is. We are arranging our spring 2022 concert, which is a thing we do every single spring. It functions pretty much the same every single time. We do it in the Fine Arts recital hall, and we perform all the songs we learned over the past semester and all that stuff.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So, a bulk of their, yeah, so a bulk of their request is just like ETF stuff. And, they obviously do have documentation for that. Groups 128650. So are there any motions to move to a period of discussion before we go over this?
I moved into a period of discussion.
Second? Any objections? Hearing seeing no objections, we've entered a period of discussion. Does anyone have anything to add? If not, real quick. So, hold on. Is there? Okay, sorry.
Just checking numbers.
Was it about the like mismatch in numbers from the? Okay, that was if has it been resolved there? Okay, perfect. So my question was that in your ECM documentation there is, I believe you guys have asked for. Where to go?
They're asking for 1325 total.
Right, so they're asking for 1325 total, but in ECS documentation, the number that's given is 128650. And that also includes covenants and everything else, but I'm really confused about where the mismatch in numbers is. That is causing this.
Hold on.
Sir?
So
Oh, there is a reclinable fees, yeah.
We're really pulling it up real quick, but if you find the place where there is a difference, realize something. So some of these line items are not adding up.
all right.
Sorry?
Sorry, I think you're cutting off a little bit.
Oh, I was just saying that the line items that are in the application are not lining up with the numbers that are provided in the ECS documentation. So we're currently trying to figure out where the difference in numbers are because you requested it, I believe it's 1325, but the ECS documentation only shows 128650. So we're trying to figure out where you're getting these numbers from.
So the numbers are going to look different on our application because previously this is how ECS fund or fee like line item and stuff. It's a little more detailed now, so everything doesn't fit neatly into AV, housekeeping, security, setup, ticket, staff room rental. That used to be all the form was, so they could just plug in those numbers. That doesn't match anymore. Candace and I already know this. Talking about it. So the invoices are gonna not fully match. However, the numbers should still be a rough estimate about the same. So the problem is whenever we're adding up just the ECS documentation numbers minus common vision, that number is 1036, but your ECS fees say 1075 on your survey monkey application. So we're just trying to see where that extra $40-ish is coming from.
Okay, so I think that might be, hold on. I think that might have just been a situation of us rounding, like giving a general amount and it coming out higher. Yeah, hold on, sorry.
So it's probably an AV.
Okay.
I guess the question is that extra $40 something that you all need? Or do you only need what is actually on the invoice?
So, I'm not sure. Part of the thing is that this is the stuff that was on the paper combined with like numbers from previous events and things like that. So I mean, I can defer to Jake on this because yeah, in general.
So can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sorry. I feel like there's some cutting off and stuff.
Okay, that's okay. So when you, in the numbers that you typed in, you have security as $150. In the quote that was given to you, in the estimate that was given to you, that student staff, student marshals is 120. So that's 30, there's $30 difference there. And then there is for your AV, you put 450, but that is actually less. It's like it's a little less than that. There's $30 for your basic lighting, $30 for your mics, 200 for your small sound, 66 for your technician, and then $115.50 for another technician. So that's $441.50. So then that is also, I think that's where the other part of it comes from. I think. It's definitely definitely security is $30 off. And then audio visual is off by $8.50. So that's $38.50.
That's really the number, yeah, that makes sense.
Is that?
Yeah. Paul and I were doing the math last night, but yeah.
So that's 25 equals that.
Well, if those are the only sections that are off, then that might just be a clerical error, and we'll probably find
And that's
the.
probably what it is. So, but what the board will consider are the numbers that are on the ECS sheet. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification, Heather. But, is everyone okay with funding it as ECS? I mean, that's what we're trying to do, but does anyone have anything to add based off of this?
The only thing that we're funding are they're asking for.
So everything that we can even consider funding is all on the sheet together as a total number exists. Huh?
Other than they just said, to fund it.
Anyone else? Cool. Objections? You're seeing the Objections, we can do it to create a voting. Just put this number in. Well, if we think we should fund this, request as it stands for 1286.50, then raise your hand. If not, don't raise your hand. And that's all of us. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you for coming in.
All
Fully
right,
funded.
thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Yay.
Have a good day.
All right. Bro, how are you doing?
We are definitely behind. Let me double check one second. It's supposed to be as dog collar comedy info.
What time is it?
That was supposed to be at 7:30. Right now we are
How far behind?
2 organizations. 5. That's not too bad.
Yeah, well, the ones like the same, like that just helps.
And different events. But like, you know, the different numbers, like, yeah, I mean, all the same idea, yeah.
And that's all about it.
Okay, what is next?
We it'll be funny.
My gosh, stay over here. Are there any representatives from the club? Anna.
Yes, I'm here for Vegan Club.
Okay, can you real quick introduce yourself as well as the event that you're for?
What was that?
Could you real quick just introduce yourself as well as the event that you're trying to, just a brief description of the event that you're trying to fund?
Oh, yeah. My name is Elizabeth. I'm actually president of Vegan Club. The event that we're trying to have is actually for the spring, April 22nd for Earth Day. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to actually be on the day of Earth Day, but most likely it will be. So basically what I wanted to do was have like a short kind of documentary-esque type screening of something, specifically Seaspiracy that's on Netflix, and then have like vegan there's got like coupons I can give out. So we discuss different like vegan alternatives to like regular stuff that people eat and like why we support veganism and the effects on your health, the environment, and little ways you can be more sustainable, basically, to like help the earth.
Thank you. Okay.
No
Are
problem.
there any questions to move into creative discussion?
No.
Oh, that was the finance board.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Are there any questions? I need you to go for it. Second. Okay, perfect. One thing that I will add is this has been done in a lecture hall, and lecture halls have been previously discussed to not be funded for. And that is something that's done a lot in these lecture halls, and that is something to note. And they have about $600 for food and drink.
Okay.
Besides of having the food on the application, everything else was pretty much fine. Well, actually,
We have $50 for decoration and $50 for anywhere.
yeah.
My assumption is that there's no food, we don't.
Assumption because they might have money other ways to pay for
Oh,
food
okay.
somewhere else.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I have a question for the,
Hi, my name is Candace. Can you hear me okay? On the computer.
Yes.
Oh, great. So you mentioned showing a film.
Yes, potentially, yeah.
Okay. So have you looked into acquiring the rights to show that film?
No, I actually wasn't sure how that goes, so that's why I wasn't 100% sure if we'll actually end up be showing any film, because I wasn't sure if we would, like, if we needed permission to do so. So I just wanted to see before I like finalize that that's what we're gonna do.
What was the name of the film again?
It's called Seaspiracy.
How do you spell that?
Seaspiracy.
Okay, so, oh, this is from Netflix, yeah. So I would say you more than likely would need to have the rights to show that, which would cost money.
Okay.
So if you don't have the rights to show it, if you don't purchase the rights to show it, should not show it.
Okay.
That is my advice to you.
So I have a question for Candace. So what makes this different from like Astronomy Club is doing a movie night? What makes it different?
Right, that's not the same. Right, so
My question is why was that this fun?
why
Why wasn't it like asked?
because I missed it. So,
Said that they were in contact with the people of the movie.
oh, true.
That's why I got anything right about.
I didn't register for it.
Exactly. Remind that.
So like, I just like the question is if one of them has like Netflix, can they just not show it off their account?
No. Because that's a public viewing versus you watching it at your house. And you have your friends over, that's a private showing in your house. But this is open to anybody. So that makes it a public viewing.
I mean, FCB has show that's pretty.
Yeah.
I'm like really confused. I didn't know that this was.
Me neither.
So are they buying the rights, like, do they Netflix or is it the school does it?
Right, so whoever has the distribution license for the film, which at this point would probably be Netflix, either does it themselves or subcontracts out to another company, and then you buy license if they are doing that. They may not be doing that, and so because some documentaries are like they just want people to see it. So, because it's on Netflix, I would venture to guess that there is some licensing going on there.
So they can't like. Well, I'm not trying to give anyone any ideas.
No.
Yeah. So like that means like the HDMI port or whatever to plug it up to the screen that would have to be purchased or can they?
Yeah, and so technically no one would know, but if someone reported it, they could get in big trouble. So, sued or something like that.
So are there like approved platforms
Or
for
vendors?
students or like student orgs to use when they are having a movie night?
No, there's no platform, right? So say I want to have a movie night and I want to show like The Little Mermaid, right? I have to go to a vendor that sells the rights to that. So like one is called Swing because that's what their name is. And so I'd be like, so, and look in Swing's catalog and they have The Little Mermaid. Okay, I want to show it for 250 people. Okay, they're gonna charge me $500 to show it one time. Yes. So then I have to pay them and then they give me digital access to it. That doesn't mean that like, then that's the correct way to do it because of copyright laws and things like that. That doesn't mean that people don't show movies all the time in ways they're not supposed to. Like at their kids' birthday parties out in the lawn on their backyard. I don't know why someone would do that. But because maybe that is something someone has done. But that's not the way you're supposed to do it, right? And because this is a UMBC group and they are using UMBC dollars, those are the questions you have to ask.
Okay, something of it. So Elizabeth, I just want to clarify, not that you're asking for the rights to the movie, But since this is supposed to be held in a lecture halls cannot have any food in them. So the finance board would not be able to consider your request for food and drink. Not supposed to be food and drink in those spaces.
Well, since I haven't finalized, like, actually requested the space, I was gonna do that this week. If I request a space, in a non-lecture hall, would I still be able to get the funding for the food and drink, or do I have to do a separate application after the fact for it?
If it's held in a different space, you would be able to, but lecture halls, classroom spaces aren't open for reservation yet.
Okay.
At least it can't be, but if it's a different space, the finance board would consider that, but if it's in a lecture hall, there can be no food or drink.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we'll take tables.
I think you can consider it. Elizabeth, are you committing to finding a different location besides a classroom space for this event?
Yes, I just wrote that down so I can check after this.
Okay, so if it's hypothetically done in the not lecture hall, not classroom, then we can, again, hypothetically fund the food and drink. So based off of that, we'd be able to fund the entirety of the $700 in theory, but does anyone have any thoughts around that?
I mean, like, what would happen if, like, we fund this and they.
Then they always hold it, I mean,
We don't do anything after that?
yeah, it's not our fault, it's not our fault, the money just returns back to us.
Okay.
For $700. Anyone else have any voices of support, maybe?
So just to, clarify, if we funded for the full amount, Elizabeth is going to find a hall where she can have food. If she can't find a hall, then basically the money won't be used.
Well, exactly.
Okay.
So this is all like based off of the fact, or I mean, at least the food and drink is based off of if she is able to find another one.
Huh? So if she does find another room, wouldn't there be additional costs?
That's out with your.
You didn't come, he doesn't have a room.
So we're only funding what we're seeing. Anyone else, any other thoughts, concerns, clarifications before we move on? Anyone? Say I agree or something.
Okay, I'm all for the $700.
Okay,
Clarification, 780.
thank you for, this new comment to start. 780, okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Any other yeses? Perfect, okay. Are there any motions on the floor?
I second.
Any objections? There being no objections, we move to period of voting for this request. If you think that Vegan Club should be funded for the full $780 that they requested, contingent on the fact that they find another room, raise your hand. If not, don't raise your hand. That is all of them. Congratulations. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
You'll be receiving an email from me in the next few days with a bit more information about confirmation of this, but good luck and thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good night.
Okay, I have a question for Tori/Candace. Is there any sort of recess sort of situation?
Or you need to take a recess, you can vote to add one to the agenda.
Okay. If we, like, I don't know what we want to do right now, but if anyone wants to,
So someone, point of.
Yes.
Someone would be to Move to add a recess to the agenda, and then you have to decide on how long that would be. And then move it.
Okay, any amendments to the agenda? Or motions to amend the agenda? So, what's that? You wanna do it now, or it's, I mean, it's up to you. You wanna do it now?
Okay, I kind of just want to keep pushing. The recess will just make the meeting there.
Well, that's what you guys are voting on. Yeah. Any motion on the floor? I don't know.
No, well, there was already a motion on the floor. There was.
Okay, so any seconds for the motion that was on the floor?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, wait, if there's an objection, right?
Well, I would, there already is. So,
Yeah,
so
I raised my hand before the other thing came up.
I would say,
So
whatever.
there is an objection, so who thinks we should, if you think we should take a recess, raise your hand.
Just gotta get my.
Yes, you can vote.
clear.
Abstaining.
It's a good thought.
Wait, sorry, what?
We won't be able to get you. I know your kids aren't, yeah.
Not yet, hopefully the end of the week, baby.
Yeah, I heard
What?
It's like broomstone, but. Okay, wait. Who wants to take a recess? Please raise your hand. So wait, I feel like everyone. Okay, everyone who wants to take a recess, please raise your hand, like actually no. Okay, well, then three of us in the opportunity. Unfortunately, I do have a D. I'm joking. Okay, moving on. Is it, yes, just the association. Are there any representatives from the State Student Association? Where they're supposed to move on?
Well, the students were sure.
No.
Nope.
Okay. So. Second.
They're asking for food and drink, ILSD, and happy food and drink.
Is that the entirety of the request?
Yeah.
Fine. Huh?
That's a question, essentially. So is there a documentation that we can look at to show what lecture hall, what halls and where they
It
came?
says in the event, location of event, up at the top.
Clarify, Mommy, you're asking, is there a list of places?
Where they can and cannot.
Where they can.
There, I have a list based on what all the orgs have requested space wise. So like, campus reports are gonna be all of everything. And the list, Matt went through and told me which rooms are no-go for food. And this is one of them on the list.
So
So I don't have
So
necessarily.
there's not a list. I would say the 25 Live probably says whether or not you can have.
Is there a way for students to know beforehand?
That's an excellent question.
So if they're putting in for food for a room that doesn't allow food, that would get flagged in 25 Live. But this isn't a scheduled, it's still tentative. So this was never approved. This event was never approved in 25 Live yet. So since it's not like approved, and it also depends on how they fill out their request. Because if they don't put in there that they're gonna have food, then 25 Live won't know. So there's a lot of factors to that.
But assuming that they did everything perfectly,
If they were allowed to have it, there would be information from that. because then there would be some more fees associated with that.
What I'd like to do is,
Yeah, I was just saying, maybe that's something we should work on to. It can be, I'm gonna exactly be easy. Ways and stuff.
what are we still waiting on? Okay. Yeah, but what are we voting on? Well, funded because of. Okay. So we just, yeah, sorry.
I just have a remark. I feel like it's not something that really. Maybe not. I think because it is a semester, we should let them, like, obviously, like, commit the event. This is my opinion.
Yeah, so this is the issue, right? That when student orgs have not worked with BCS on everything. BCS would have said, what do you want to do in this event? And they're like, well, I want to do this, and I want that. Yes, will be like, well, you can't do that in ILSB. These orgs have not worked with actual BCS. So because of that, they are asking for things that they shouldn't be asking for. These kinds of scenarios when they're asking for food in a room that they have tentatively reserved. And they haven't worked with ECS, I would say don't fund it. They didn't do what they were supposed to do.
And they know to go to ECS first.
Yes.
Any on-campus.
Yeah.
You said like 20
Yes,
reminders.
yes, yes, yes. They should have booked this room, then they, well, you can use tentative, right? Like, but you could, yeah, I would say you could say based on the space that you have, we're not gonna fund that. They could still, what is this event?
This is
Oh.
like a study,
It is
study hall thing.
It's for weekly also.
Yeah.
I felt like this sounded kind of like a GP. That's why I
Yeah.
put in my review, I was like, I don't think we could fund it anyway, because it's basically a GP.
It's a weekly, it says planned and one day thing, so,
It says in the key takeaways, this event will take place every week.
Yeah, I would. Perfect. Based on the space that they're asking for, and that they're asking for food, which they cannot have in that space. Two things canceling, but.
so we're all in agreement that that's something we can do over month. Okay. Any motion from the floor?
Second.
Any objections? Here I see no objections, so I think it should be funded for the amount for the. $50, then raise your hand. If you don't think it should be funded for $300, as they requested, don't raise your hand. Hoping that this is all intentional, not hand raising. I don't think anyone for, and it's. Hearing no presence, and it's perfect. First, not something.
Amend the agenda to add a dog.
I said, I just like the I'm just watching you the recess.
Do we have to revote or no?
Copy your name. Yeah, but then there's other things from public safety. I should copy people's dates. Yeah. Moving on. Dog collar. So, for a little bit more context, oh, are there any representatives from dog collar here?
Checking right now. Yep.
I think literally just us four. Yes.
No.
Unless someone showed up in person. Whatever. It's 6:90. That's a live performance that Southport is hosting and I'm lucky and I'm great. They're expecting a lot of people. And they're just asking for ticket stuff and $10.27 common material. And here is their document. That's yeah, but is it 1020 and then
There's a previous invoice.
Okay.
That's what you want.
Okay. So this is the one I want. We asked for the ticket stuff and they asked for 1020 and time visit. Are there any motions to move over in discussion? Didn't have anything to add. Be a simple, just looks fine. Anyone else? We're all in agreement that we're fully funding this as it stands. Then are there any questions on the board? Any objections? We're seeing the objections. We've entered a period of voting. It was $118.20. If we think that we should fund this stand to $118.20, then raise your hand. If not, then raise your hand. Tom?
I found my target.
Perfect. They've been funded. Payment signs later. Moving on to the second dog collar request. This is 94. So again, dog collar, and this is for life performance number 3. Makes sense, and they are asking for the same $108 and the complimentary material for $10.20. Are there any motions on the floor?
I second.
I don't have anything to add. Anyone else?
Just keep it consistent.
Perfect. Any motions on the floor, raise that, please. Okay, so same thing again. same question from last time, but if you think that you're spotted, stand for $180.20. Raise your hand. If not, don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Silence right now.
Doc will remember. So I think it's the same exact thing. Or, yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah, let me see. For April 1st, I love the negative, but that's like the same thing. Okay, any emotions on the floor? We're all good with that? Oh, you already said that, right? Oh, okay, cool. Any objections? Anything no objections? Not just for voting? Fine. There's $10.10 of content marketing. Yeah. So it's been 118.20 for everything. Think it should be if you think it should be approved as it stands, raise your hand. If not, that makes it. Hi. Only one person. Yeah, okay. 8-4. Maybe student association or so this is BSA's culture show on May 1st, 29th. They are asking for a bit of money, like $2,000 something dollars. They can't do that. But here is their, yeah, they have everything here. But this is their, can you just go back up? Yeah, documentation, and they are requesting the exact amount that's shown on this, $13,054. So, are there any witnesses to move here to discussion? Objection? Seeing no objections, we went to the period of discussion. Does anyone have anything to add?
So like, I don't know if this is really up to us or if it matters, but could they use some of their like existing to cover the common vision? Since it's so like, you know,
I mean,
like,
this is not an expensive.
oh,
Just to put that.
I know it's not, I'm just asking like, as far as like what we consider for breakdown, that matter.
We're not in a position where we.
Oh,
Yeah, no. We got less. In a different year, maybe, this year, it's not something that you'd worry about, more so worrying about making sure everything's correct.
okay.
Yeah, and aligned with the rest of it.
It's something here.
Is this just exactly what you see?
Yep.
Can we?
I'm just audio and saying like can't really we can find it. Also, no,
I just say.
basically, I mean, if ECS doesn't work, that I mean, I'm just going around to see if anyone has a name out there, or if there's any voices of support. Money.
I would say it looks good to me. All the numbers lined up on the ACS documentation as well. So,
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good. It is the same as the one that's here.
I don't think the same. similar, maybe, but not the same for sure. It was for different, I think it was for night market. Yeah. Are there any other voices of support or concern or anything? Are there any wishes for support? Objections? You're saying no objections, please move to here voting. And we should fund BSA's disclosure show request for $2,000 as they asked for. And please make not don't raise your hand. Oh, I don't know, I didn't see it, sorry. Eight. Oh. There were no.
The agenda.
Entrepreneurs energy. Let's see.
Oh, I'm so sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Are there any representatives for entrepreneurs? Okay, so this is for entrepreneurs that you received for their pitch competition phase one event. It's held at Public Policy 104 on February 17th. So the majority of their request is food and drinks, those decoration designer and supplies and components to the year. So obviously they don't need documentation or anything for them, but that's what they're asking for.
I would enter a period of discussion. They're holding it in a classroom, I'm pretty sure. So the food.
Is it public policy? Okay, cool.
I had class in my last semester.
I just lost 5 minutes. Yeah, they can be. You're right. Okay.
I would like to add that they're asking for 100 people. So with events that are happening over 50 people, they need to be meeting with Matt. All of their pitches, so it's a series essentially. Matt never met with them. So they have not brought this to Matt, and their thing would only get more people. So 100 to 150 to 200. 100 people would not be allowed in that space. And the space that would fit them would have had to already be requests. So just to keep that in mind, that this would most likely, they would have needed to meet with ECS for something this large, and they never did.
It is weird.
It is.
Because they went through treasure training. So in treasure training order that told us, you have to meet with ES. And I say that's down the slide, yeah. So, yeah, it's, there will be a number of requests that you see. They have not done any of their pre-work. Have submitted things.
Short answer, even if you did it this event, probably not be placed for an event that large, let alone three, but it's very difficult. So that is my 2 cents.
So I'm in favor of not funding.
Sorry, what is it? I was gonna say. I got. Oh, I was agreeing. Anyone else? Yes.
I'll be willing to consider a series of this event, all like the same. At all.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just like vote, we can just do separate votes, but then if we all agree that, yeah. Okay, then we can just vote 3 separate times and say, oh.
Yeah.
So,
We vote all at once for all 3.
I don't know, is that okay?
I don't think that works with Robert rules or not, so I'm asking.
I mean, I thought it would be individual, but if we're okay with that, then.
Okay, then, can I make a motion?
Huh?
I move to vote for, I move to interpret voting.
I move to vote.
I move to interpret voting for all 3.
Okay,
I said.
any objections? We're voting for all 3. What was the amount that they, I need to see now.
It was.
Somebody put on for me.
First one,
It's about
for
30.
722, 1,280.
Yeah. It's perfectly presented.
Oh. Somebody's here.
There's a question for Candace and Tori. So, it really has nothing to do with finance work, kind of. But haven't they been doing this event for like years, or is it something new?
New word, but they've done it before.
I thought I was gonna pitch on another event because when they now to like they can be.
Maybe, but there, I think last year we transfer of knowledge, that for students, especially for the
Yes.
So like me and talking about it again. There was no sensitivity.
just jump to it. And I don't know if that was like.
Oh, that was because, I can't remember why, but there was a reason for that.
Just making sure.
Oh,
Because I do want to read
someone
legislation.
had some documentation in it, so we'll go back to it one day. It's already made.
Okay, thanks for that.
But thank you for letting me know, yeah. Okay, if we think that we should fund, entrepreneurs at UMBC for the amount that they've requested, then raise your hand for any of the 3 documentations, or legislations. If not, don't raise your hands. And I'm hoping that this is intentional, again, not raising your hand. Okay, sure. So I'm gonna say 0.8 for everyone. Okay, so our next one is, our next 3 ones are 6 student association one. Four. Are there any motions sent to further discussion? Thank you. Previous?
Yes, ILSB 301.
Yeah, they can have moved.
Is that the glassy one?
No, that's not all they're after.
Yeah.
I put it, I don't think they ever like specified what the supplies was.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. That's-
Uh-huh. I agree. Anyone else? It's a good break. So. The only other thing that's really great that they have is supplies, that's an unspecified $10 for, I don't remember seeing anything the other day, that's why I was looking for it, but let me know if you see anything.
Yeah, all three of their requests actually are like kind of.
The same thing, right?
Yeah.
Food and drink, the same place, yeah.
So I just put clarification, if you do want to table them and ask them what it's for, you can. The paint night, Matt and I have talked about this. There is zero chance, anything paint related would be approved in ILS also. So just as a clarification, that event would totally be a no to happen in that space. The other two, ask them for clarification what those other things are, but food would also not be.
Right, the game night and the food night.
Yeah, so the only thing that would be an absolute, it's not happening, would be paint night because that cannot happen in ILS.
That's February.
Yes.
Did they go through, do they need to go through ECS for this?
When it's smaller, they don't need to. However, when they would go to put this into 25 live, it would not be approved.
Thoughts?
Because we can't have. So I guess, I mean.
8, 11, any other? Probably.
I'm sure there are spaces where you can do it. Nice. Skylight.
This one is.
Yeah, the paint night is a very
Yeah.
last one. It's gonna
Oh.
be 7:32. 8.
33 January.
So I'm sort of way, like the, so there was someone here, or maybe they were in the call, I can't remember. They had a tentative room book, like $600 included, but then they were told, oh, but that's a classroom, change it, and they're like, okay, cool. But then all of these other ones that are classrooms, they're like, no. Not here. They say, oh, we'll change it. That is making me feel a certain sort of way.
Did that happen today?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
right here.
so,
To be fair, the other groups that you said no to for this had more than just that. So the one was like a GDM, like a series, and then the other ones were on. Like we're just large
oh,
scale.
that's not. But so then this discussion in particular, right, like they're like, we want to do paint night, but you can't do it in that room. So,
So I guess what you're saying is the first two requests, the game night and the crypto night, are ones that can be rescheduled? Or even the paint night could be
Yeah, but I mean, if you were using the same logic that you used with this other group. But I don't know if maybe that logic has been applied to that other group.
Feel like too late.
Go to them. This is what happens, yeah, I'm flipping. This is what happens when they don't do their stuff, then you are left to sort of try to problem solve for them. Not your role at this stage of the game. Previously, yes, that was your role, because you're trying to help get them through the process and their problem solving. I think if I'm being blunt, but it's done now. If I'm being blunt, I think you probably made a mistake in granting that student the opportunity to change. No. I think it's okay. That's good idea. I'm trying to name that, and it took me a while to get there, so I'm sorry. Figure out how to, I wasn't processing it. So, yeah, my advice would be that you look at these as they are on the surface, right? What it is that they are presenting to you. Are they presenting to you a request that is in a space that they can't actually do that thing in that space? Like, sorry, like you, yeah, I know, it's been much time with you, obviously. Listen. So I just think that you just need to be consistent, right? You're gonna deny requests because they're in rooms that they can't technically hold that stuff in. Cool. And that's the line. But when they come in here, they're like, well, I can move it. And it's just, you have to be sort of firm with that. Right? It's your, that's when.
Set the precedent
Which?
for funding things that can be technically changed.
I think we made a mistake.
Yeah, we made an exception. I don't think.
I think you made a mistake. You can course correct. And if you show that you have done that consistently afterwards, I think you'll be okay. Yes.
So they
Correct.
aren't required. Don't know if you.
Because some of these are small events too.
Right, like this we could apply it.
Yes. Yeah. That.
I see your point. Decision we made of, because I think that like, I guess, I know we have a lot of applications, but I feel like I wanted to get like a lot of the people. Most of them are students who haven't had any on-person ever, like next to no experience, because I saw that a lot like during the tech. Because of that. I mean, I was even gonna recommend for this one, I think that, I know that we should be looking at the applications as they are, but maybe, I know it's not the best decision for all of us and everything, but like if we come across something like table, the event, so we have on contact request and let them know that, like this, like whatever you want, you're gonna allow in this type of room, so we can move it, or like things like that. But if we have something like the movie, ones like plan movie that they, or they had, I think, other issues. But yeah, we had most people that voted. But I think for like things like this, I kind of want to say moving forward, our president should just be like, because this is like, for now, like this semester, I guess, do it to like table them so that they have time to contact them and let them know like the full information if they didn't know it.
big events, they didn't. Other things could be considered small by ECA standards. Yeah. But,
That would be easier if they would have had that information.
Okay, so considering our definition of small and big, these three events would be considered small, and that would mean that we would hypothetically table it and contact them and let them know, hey, can have this in this building for what you want. If you want to change it, you have the opportunity to change it. Let us know before we can vote on it. Does that sound okay?
I think going forward, like if we're going to with these applications, all, when I do like but like we can make it a point for liaisons and being a assessor to let them know, like this is the information that you have, like, no, no.
Yeah, before every budget season, we send out like multiple emails.
Yeah, so in mass emails, I guess we can emphasize like a bunch of like big meet with ECS. Notice like a lot of people did that.
But it's the way that you bolded, highlighted, like 7 different emails.
That's just one email per month.
That's
It's
my
like 20.
To be clear, if they were smaller scale, ECS turned them away because that's not. They wouldn't charge a group to use AV and Electrohall because it's free for student groups. So on their behalf, there is no charge from ECS, so technically ECS is like, from us, you have what you need because you're not gonna have a charge. That doesn't mean that ECS won't say no to an event because it's food, like they're still gonna say, no, you can't do that. But as far as funding goes, ECS will limit it.
So, hours or time that discuss their application before they submit it.
So it's available, it's just, I don't know if people are taking advantage of it, but we also can we can emphasize that that needs to be the case, but it really depends on the students to read it and understand. Sorry, what was that? Neil, is that your hand up?
Yeah, I would just say that if we're going forward with the precedent of under 50, then we'll table or like send out an email and then I'm like in favor of tabling this by that like recommendation.
Okay, just to clarify, the ones that are like this, you saw them all today. I just went through to see which other ones are electric. All of the ones that are in electric health with the food. So there are no other ones that you will be seeing, that this would be issued for.
Not an image from for. I'd be down to table all three simultaneously. That's okay.
But we have to get the legislature have it this time.
So, any motion from the floor?
I move to table all three sick due to the association.
Second? We received any objections for the whole meeting?
Also, on that, I need to make a link to the agenda because we have a representative from NASB here. Their request was on the agenda, but I don't know why we're skipping off. They have submitted documentation and everything. Like, they were on the agenda initially. I don't know why we're skipping off. That's big. National Credit.
Yeah, remember you emailed me those two?
Yeah.
Or that's it for you, and I was like, this one has updated, but this one. Yeah, 7:41.
Okay, got it. So motion to amend the agenda.
President is Joshua Son.
Give me like 1 second, I'll add that in and then I'll. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes. 7:41.
And I just re-forwarded the documentation.
I uploaded the documentation.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Pretty sure I did.
Sure.
Okay, yes.
Yep, it's.
I'm gonna do see a number for it.
7:41.
Oh, no, it's a
Oh.
number.
Oh, it's gonna be 50.
Could be. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so it's on the agenda for any more stuff.
Yeah, there, Josh was here.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull this off real quick. And while I'm doing this, Josh, can you go, introduce yourself real quick, and this would be about Explore as well.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, we can hear you.
All right, sounds good.
Could you please?
Introduce yourself if you can and might tell us about your organization and why you need money.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Here, I'll also share my video. Sorry about that. I'm still working out the volume. It's
Take your time.
yeah. But yeah, so hi, I'm Joshua Slaughter. I'm a senior computer engineering major. I'm also the president of the National Society of Black Engineers, also known as NSBE. And essentially, I think which request is this for, or is this for multiple requests?
This is for, where'd it go? Nestle mixer.
I see. Okay, so this is just like a really fun event for our general body. We had it, I think, when I was a sophomore or freshman, and it went pretty well. I think what happened was we ended up requesting um Lower Flat Tuesdays, and then we moved it to a newer place after that request got rejected because Lower Flat Tuesdays is used for storage now. And then upon moving it, it kind of got delayed in the process of, the October 20th deadline. And we've been trying to work with the scheduling people, so Matthew Bowling, to get it confirmed. So, and I know that with a lot of this stuff, we were coming up on the deadline for the budget due date. However, we submitted documents saying, oh, this location or this scheduling is pending versus and then I know my treasurer, who couldn't make it tonight because she has class, said that she delivered updated documents via email after the due date with changed statuses or updated statuses.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm.
Any motion on the floor? Jeffrey? Here's no objection, you entered a period of discussion. Okay, anyone have anything to add?
Hi Joshua, is this event only for NSBE members?
Typically no. A lot of the Black organizations on campus work together. So, what we do is we typically extend it to the greater Black STEM community. So this would include anyone in any of like IEEE or the American Chemical Society or any of those groups as well. We invite broadly to the greater UMBC community. And I also, if I remember correctly, we might because I didn't write the description for this one, I don't believe, or I copied and pasted it. I believe we might be inviting people from like the UMD chapter of NESB and like other Maryland schools as well. Because they had a similar thing, UMD did a few years ago.
Wait, I have a question to Tori and Candace, but money wise, like I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, I would say that the PS fees are off. But this also received updated documentation, so that explains the difference. You need to go off of what the documentation says.
110.
Yeah, 110.
So considering that it'd be 110 for campus light fees, and then if hypothetically the event fees and everything else stays the same, then that'd be the number.
Yeah, 110.
And
255.
Yep. And it was finance for everything. Yep.
So, Joshua, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm also your liaison. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We've met before.
Yeah, but I want to ask, so you're advertising this event on my UMBC, right? So, people that are not affiliated with that realm, can any UMBC student attend? Just for clarification.
Yeah, any UMBC student can attend.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Anyone else? Wait, I want to hear like voices of both we go there. Anyone? Yeah.
Since, like, I think we should, as it does for like other neighboring clubs that to join. Also, to have like students come to our. I think we should.
Any motion from the floor?
I move to enter.
Any objections? Hearing any objections, for two. $55. We think that this fees request should be funded as they have requested, I guess. Raise your hand. If not, don't raise your hand. Over. Congratulations. Thank you for coming in.
And that's abstaining from
Mayor is absent.
Oh.
Nail of the name, where's the? Oh.
Oh my God, you over there.
You looked me in my eyes and said, "Where's Neil?"
I know.
That's why I hate these masks. Like,
Oh.
even people at eyes, like,
Congratulations. Thank you for coming in.
congrats.
All right, so is that it?
Yep.
All right, thank you so much. Hope you guys have a good one. All right, see you.
Richmond. Yeah, we're both from Richmond.
Are there any motions to move to approve?
I motion to move to approve. Second.
Second?
Second.
Any objections?
No.
Seriously, no objection? Oh, I have an announcement. Guys, remember Garba, the one that we funded a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Their tickets are out, so go get your tickets.
Where did the ticket?
I'll send you the link in a minute.
Okay, thanks.
It's the thing that we funded. It's basically an Asian dance stuff. It's like celebrating but it's just kind of to celebrate like and the victory of like good over evil.
I'm going. Is there anything?
I'm gonna go evil. Evil,
What is it? What is it?
It's next Friday, so I'm going, going, nobody's going.
How much are these tickets?
They're free.
And where do I get them?
I'm also not like.
Put it in the chat.
I moved to enter, I moved to a.
Oh, wait, are there any other announcements? Yeah.
My organization's free treat thing got canceled this Friday. So you guys want to come out this Friday? Outside of the common, underneath the white tent, giving out free snacks.
Oh, that's this one.
And now it was this Friday. It got canceled last week because it was raining. But now if you want free snacks, come out.
Okay, okay. Any other announcements? Oh, next Monday, please come to the initiative fair.
Yes.
It's the same time as our Tuesday mandatory meetings, but like on Monday during Senate. So feel free, please come. There's pizza apparently and other stuff.
I have an announcement.
I love how you adjourned. Okay, go ahead.
I know, I just remembered.
Okay, wait, Anna, what do you have?
Well, I just have a question on the initiative.
Yep, it's
Yes.
Okay, nailed it.
So I don't know if y'all know, but I'm gonna be in the Amazon college tour.
Yeah.
And they wanted, I'm sorry, I'm really tired. They wanted me to get like fake stock photos of me doing like my daily routine. So I think like next Tuesday, I think I might have Ava, right? It's a counselor,
Yeah.
Ava. She might come in here and take pictures like of the meeting. So like if you don't want to be on video that's gonna be online, let me know.
Like
Your face, like
Yeah.
so yeah, if you're witness protection, let me know. Actually, no, don't let me. Yeah. Next Tuesday, she'll probably, or me will probably like take a video or like, we'll just like make up something to say so they'll have a video that's like moving and talking. So yeah, if you want to be in that. What am I supposed to?
It's just giving people a warning that they're.
Oh, yeah.
That you're going on.
Yeah, if you don't want to be on Amazon video, don't show your face.
What is that for again?
It's Amazon does this thing called the college tour where they'll take videos of college campuses and put them out so that students can so students can see the school from like a student's perspective instead of just brain.
So you work on Amazon.
Yeah. So I'm casting that, so they'll have to be here to see like the finance board meetings. I know, that's why they're so fast.
Okay, any other announcements?
No, I moved to adjourn this meeting.
I second.
Wait, y'all can't leave yet. Oh my
You
god.
made a motion.
Okay, wait, I recognize that Johannes, Fiona, Griffon, Devin, Guzman, Amina, Aya, Akira, Lonnie, as well as me, as well as our country members, Tori and Candace, are all present. The meeting is adjourned at 8:38 p.m. We still have to pass the gavel. I honestly.
Girl, I'm serious.
Badly.
We don't have to. Do you have to be positive? The gavel, let's go.
You don't have anything to say.
I would just like to say that this is not a long meeting.
Let me know if it's